standard. Before moving on to the lesson, let me introduce myself. I'm Swati. From today onwards, I'm going to take English for you. So, the second unit that deals with the tales and tunes. Before moving on to the lesson, I have a few questions for you. Are you all ready? Okay, let's move on to the lessons. First of all, what do you mean by tales? How many of you like to hear stories? Yes, tales are the stories. All of us like to hear stories, no? Yes. Which type of stories do you like most? Yes, the stories of animals, birds, humans, magic and music, etc. Isn't it? Yes. Who tells stories to you? Mostly our grandparents said stories to us. Is it right? Yes. So, our second unit is full of stories. Let's move on to the lesson. Take your textbook. Here, you have the introductory part of this unit. And in this introductory part, there is a little conversation between Vimal and his grandma. When I am reading, keep your fingers where I am reading. Vimal is a lucky boy. He has a grandmother who tells him lots of stories. Every night at bedtime, there is a story for him. What fantastic stories grandmother had told Vimal. The stories of animals, birds, of clever and senseless people, of magic and music, stars and sages, and many more. Why Vimal is said to be a lucky boy? Because he has his grandmother with him. All of us know that our grandparents are used to say stories to us. In that way, Vimal is so lucky because during his bedtime, his grandma find out time to say stories for him. What kind of story grandma said to him? Yes, stories of animals, birds, magic, music and sages. Do you know what's the meaning of sages? Yes, sages is the person who have a lot of knowledge. In every night, grandma used to tell us stories to him. That is why Vimal is a lucky boy. One day, Vimal asked his grandmother if stories grew on trees. She laughed and said, "No, not on trees." One day, hearing these stories, he asked his grandmother, "Grandma, from where did you get these stories? Is the stories that grew on the trees?" What do you mean by grew? Yes, grew is the past tense of which word? Grow. Is the stories are growing trees? His grandmother laughed. She smiled and said, "No, no, my dear." Then where do we get the stories from? Vimal asked. I got them from my grandmother. I, in turn, tell you. Vimal, remember to tell your friends these stories so that they can also enjoy them. After telling the story, grandma said that. What she said? Vimal, you want to tell these stories to your friends. But Vimal said, "No, I don't want to tell them to any of the stories. These are my stories, my treasures. I don't want to give them away." What was his reply while grandma said that? Yes, he said that all those stories are mine only. I want to keep it myself. And all these stories are my treasures. Treasures means happiness. He said that all these stories are my happiness, so I don't want to share these stories to anyone. Don't be silly, my boy. Stories are meant to be told. Listen and tell. That is the law of the story kingdom, his grandmother said. Then what was his grandmother's reply? She said that if you hear one stories from grandparents, you want to tell to your friend. What is the rule of a story? If you hear one story, you want to tell to your friends. That is the rule of a story. I hope you understand the first portion. The next page, you have a small fable. What do you mean by fable? Yes, fables are also the short traditional story and which contain a message or a moral which can be taken to our life. Today we studied another two words for story. Which are they? Yes, tales and fables. Mostly these fables are not written in books or any storybooks. These fables are passed by generation to generation orally. What do you mean by orally? Yes, through mouth. As I mentioned earlier, Vimal and his grandmother's conversation, no? How Granny said stories to him orally, through mouth. So, these fables are also passed to generation by orally. Do you know any storytellers? Yes. Do you heard about Vishnu Sharma? Yes, he is the author of Panchatantra stories. Like that, here you have a small fables by Aesop. A rich voyager from Athens was on a voyage with two companions. In the course of their voyage, a violent storm blew up and capsized the ship. The companions tried to swim ashore, but the rich voyager kept calling on Athena, the goddess of Athens, and promised her lavish offering if he escaped. One of his shipwrecked companions, as he swam past, shouted to him, "Don't leave it to old Athena. Use your arms as well." So here is a very short story for you, and from this, while reading this story, you will get a moral. Let me explain once. A rich voyager from Athens was on a voyage with two companions. In the course of their voyage, a violent storm blew up and capsized the ship. Voyager means the person who travels a long trip, especially in ships. One day, a rich man and his two companions means friends. A rich man and his friends traveling in a ship. Suddenly what happened? Yes, suddenly a strong wind blew and capsized the ship. Capsized means turned into water. Suddenly, when the strong wind comes, the ship turned into water.
The companions tried to swim ashore, but the rich voyager kept calling on Athena, the goddess of Athens, and promised her lavish offerings if he escaped.
When this ship entered the water, what happened? His two friends tried to escape by swimming. What about the rich man? Yes, he stayed in the water. His companion tried to escape by swimming, even though the rich man stayed in water. And he started to pray Athena. Do you know who is Athena? Yes, god of Athens. And he said to Athena, "If you escape me, definitely I will give you some promises." And he did not try to escape from the water. One of his shipwrecked companions, as he swam fast, shouted to him, "Don't leave it all to Athena, use your arms as well." While seeing this, his friends got angry. Friends asked him, "Why are you not trying to escape from here?" First, if you are in a trouble or if you have any problem, don't leave all problems to the God. First of all, what you want to do? You want to try to come out from that. So, do you understand what is I hope you understand the moral of the story. What's the moral of the story? Don't be lazy in every time. Do your duty, hard work, then only you can reach your God. That is the moral of the story. We have some book bag activities. Let's see one by one. First one, given below are some of the proverbs and sayings. Which of these can be taken as a moral of the story and why? So here you have 4 proverbs in your textbook. From this proverb, you want to find out which proverb is more suitable for this fable. Let me explain one by one. The proverbs are, the first one, don't cry over spilt milk. What's the meaning of that? Anyone can say? Yes. Don't be upset in a situation that is already happened. That means if something is happened in past, don't think about that. For example, if you fail in an exam, what will be your reaction? Yes, you start to cry. So what will be your parents say? Don't cry for this time. You can do better next time. That is the meaning of don't cry over spilled the milk. The next one, God helps those who help themselves. That means first you want to do your duty, don't put all those things to God's head. First, work hard, then achieve your goal. During that time, you can pray. Unnecessarily, don't put all those things in God's hand. The early bird catches the worm. What do you mean by worm? Do you heard about earthworm? Yes, that is lives in soil now. So, the meaning of the early bird catches the worm. If you are do your duties in early or fast, then only you can succeed. The last one is the barking dog seldom bites. That means the people who say negative to us, they will continue their saying. Don't listen that. Move forward and do your duties. That is the meaning of the barking dog seldom bites. And then we have another activities, that is a discussion. Let's see one by one. I think we were already heard about this proverb, no? Yes. What does the meaning of a friend in need is a friend indeed? If you are facing a problem or if you are in a trouble, your true friends will be stay with you and they try to help you. For example, if our friends have 2 or more pencils or pen with them, we forgot to take pen or pencil. If we ask to our friends, some friends will give and others don't. So during that situation, you can understand who is your best friend. Your unfaithful friend disappear in your trouble. Let's move on to the next proverb. God helps those who help themselves. I think we were discussed this proverb in the previous activities. Do you want to repeat it once again? Yes. First, we want to do our duties, hard work, then only we can succeed our goals. Then we have next activities too. Let's see that. Let's see another activity. You have some proverbs there. You want to find out the meaning of these proverbs. Let's see that. The first one, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. That means don't take much more chances to do a particular thing. Okay? The first one is done for you and you want to find out the meaning from second onwards. The second one, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. What's the meaning of that? We are more familiar with that proverb, no? If you eat healthy food daily, you can stay healthy forever. And the third one is, a stitch in time says nay. Means, if you have something in your hand, don't search for another one. Sometimes that may be the bad one. Whatever with you, keep yourself until that unnecessarily don't search for the next one. Next one. Let's see another proverb. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. That means, do you know what is pudding? Yes, it's a sweet and very tasty to eat, no? Sometimes the look will be good. If you are tasting it, then only you can identify it is good or bad. Let's see the next proverb. Yes, too many cooks spoil the broth. That means if a lots of people join together to do a particular thing, sometimes that may be bad. If you know one thing, do that properly. So, what you want to do means you want to find out the meaning for this proverb. One column you have the proverb and the next column you have that meaning. You want to match that. I hope you all understand the content. Okay, let's recall this chapter once again. Today we learned 2 new words for the story. Which are they? Yes, tales and fable. We learned a short fable from Esau. Am I right? Yes. Before next class, you want to do all these homeworks and submit to your teacher. Will you do that? Yes, good. So, let's conclude this class today. Wish you a good day. See you on next class. Bye, children.